I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not libertarian. I'm a human being that wants the best for the rest of the human beings, and I want some common sense, and I want to be left alone. I want to pay low taxes. I want to be able to go build things and prosper and get all the things that have been promised to me in the Constitution of this country. That's what I want. And until people wake the up and stop identifying with left or right, Republican, Democrat, black, white, gay, straight, all the shit, until we figure that out and stop doing that, we will continue to be abused by these people who hold the power.
Oh, hell yeah. Hey everybody, this is Mike with the Clip Farm.
Matt with the Clip Farm.
I'm JC with the Clip Farm.
Welcome. I know everybody hasn't seen him yet, at least not on one of our panels, but we got old JC here with us now. You'll see him in our shorts. And before we get this started, we're going to do a live reaction to the State of the Union. Myself and Matt are kind of involved in politics. We have more conservative leanings. JC is not into politics at all.
I have no idea, dude. Don't follow any of that shit.
So we'll preface that right off here.
It's literally just toxic. So I don't follow.
Yeah. So we'll preface that right off the jump. Myself and Matt are the guys that follow politics. We have more conservative leanings. But we'll dive right into it. I got this. This is I think from Fox, I believe their broadcast of it, and I sped it up to where it looks like that you're going to start talking. So, we will go ahead and hit play, and we will stop and talk wherever we see fit. So I don't know how long this one's going to be. Y'all ready?
Sure.
Let's go.
Little Sleepy Joe.
Tony.
A little more volume, maybe.
Is it too quiet?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all the way up.
Huh. Okay.
David Jill.
Up there looking like Frenchie Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun. What the fuck are you squinting for?
Good evening.
I know what he's squinting for.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
All right, end of stream.
He's definitely on Adderall. Look how happy he is.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans. In January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation. And he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas.
Look how uncomfortable
at the very same time.
Those two behind him are.
Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine.
The woman behind him, that's the vice president, and then the Speaker of the House,
if anybody in this room thinks Putin
so
will
it's a
stop
Democrat,
Ukraine,
female
I
Democrat,
assure you
and
he
then
will not.
Speaker of the House is a Republican.
But Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine. and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself.
Kamala's a trained SEAL.
I'll pause it right there real quick. You're not going to know this, Jay, but Matt's familiar, and I'm sure a lot of people that are following us are familiar, but the president's son, Hunter, who the president claims is the smartest man he ever knew, had business dealings over there in Ukraine with a gas company called Burisma. And there's a lot of email traffic back and forth, but this all stemmed from like 2006 to 2009, I believe. And he was paid millions of dollars. I can't remember the exact figure. Paid millions of dollars. There's email trails stating that 10% for the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of Biden family precedents getting money from Ukraine, specifically directed to the Biden family. So a lot of conservatives have a very strong issue with what's happening in Ukraine because it's literally sending money over there, which is directly going back into their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can show you the evidence probably on another one of these streams, but that's why a lot of conservatives have an issue with the massive amount of money we're sending to Ukraine.
Is that why every couple months they want to send another something $1 billion or $1 trillion over there to fight in the war when they're probably
and I think there is money going to
Yeah.
fight the war, but literally
Not-
the president of Ukraine is a actor. His name is Zelensky. He was an actual actor.
Oh Lord, that's a hustle all day.
So we'll get back into this. They're gonna clap and cheer for the fucking billions and billions of dollars are sending over there. Oh, here we go. Clap it up. Get down, you hyena.
That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Now,
Those two areas aren't next to each other, by the way.
now my
No,
predecessor,
but not only that, it's a really lame
a former
comparison.
Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
I agree with you, kid. He just pulled that one right out of his
Out of the mouths of babes.
As a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations, created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. I'm going to stand up.
What happened to Sweden maintaining neutrality?
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I guess not. I mean,
And they know how to fight.
that's not a bad thing, by the way.
Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress. We have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. will not bow down. In a literal sense,
What the hell?
history is watching. History is watching.
Those are your congressmen
Just like
and
history
women.
watched 3 years ago on January 6th. When insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pause that real quick. We can't really discuss that. That will get it kicked off YouTube.
Yeah.
But since he's talking about that day, I'm gonna say something about that day as politically correct as I can. That was set up by. That was set up.
That was yeah.
I'll say that. So he's just going to continue to preach this, but Jay, this is literally a topic that they'll strike our YouTube channel on. So
yeah.
We're not going to dive into. We're not going to dive into the J6 stuff on.
I will say that.
Well, at least on here, we might do it on Rumble.
Yeah, I was going to say I will say that Biden even throwing that out there in a State of the Union is just disgusting. I say they know it's BS. They know it was a setup, and he's using it for political clout with the uneducated among the American people.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll just move along. But I figured we'd stop and say a little bit there.
The insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War.
Come on, man.
America stood.
You know what else is a great threat to our democracy? Crack.
Democracy prevailed. We must be honest.
That's a big threat, too.
The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
That would be something the Democrats should really take to heart.
Okay.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections, restore trust in our institutions, and make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place.
Peaceful protests, they'll do, right?
Yeah.
It's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
How does Roe v. Wade have anything to do with in vitro fertilization?
It doesn't.
Exactly.
And not at all. So, Jay, just so you understand what he just said there, Roe v. Wade was the bill that it was for abortions, not procreation.
I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more.
I ain't seen the vice president do shit since they won.
My predecessor came to office
He hasn't.
determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned.
I've just heard her
He's the
cackle.
reason it was overturned.
Ah,
and he
electric
brags
buses.
about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk.
Drugs are wearing off.
She didn't act.
They're wearing off
Because
fast.
Texas law banned her ability to act.
Oh.
Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening to too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need.
Straight lies.
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
I love it when one branch of the government tells the other branch how they have to act.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have 3 branches of government. Keep each other in check.
Clearly, those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
They're fading
I
fast.
don't think so.
It's your story. I'll let you tell it how you want to.
This would be a good time for that bullshit.
A bullshit?
Send me
A
a Congress
bullshit?
that supports the right to choose. I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
You don't have the authority as president.
Folks,
People are buying it, though.
Americans
Okay.
Yeah.
will not go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses? Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones, millions left behind? A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history.
Can you pause that for a second?
We have.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities.
So he was talking about the spikes in crime and all that during COVID, but wasn't that more towards the end of COVID when they started doing all the riots and they literally like burned down the what was it, a library across the street from the White House, and then in all the Democratic cities they were having huge riots.
Yeah, because of that was involved in the Derek Chauvin, George Floyd
riots.
issues in Minneapolis.
I say
Yeah, it was like-
he's conflating the two to make the pandemic look like more of a actual thing.
And this
And
was
Trump
when
did-
they were pushing that whole defund the police movement, right?
Mm.
So there's a
Yep.
spike in crime, but you want to defund the police. Does that make
Yeah, and
any?
his-
I mean, just going off common sense here, does that make any sense?
Not a bit.
No.
But to the
Nope.
liberals, that's police are the cause of most crime, according to some liberals.
And,
I don't know how.
And to be clear, what he said though about the pandemic and that Trump didn't care. Trump did care tremendously. He tried to shut the borders down in January of 2020, and he was called a racist.
Yeah,
He tried to shut it again down in February, and
Yeah.
again he was called racist.
I say
And then in March it became public information, and then all of a sudden it's lockdowns and 6
Yeah.
feet distance and all that. But Trump tried for 2 months before it was known mainstream what was going on, and literally he's like, no flights in or out of China. No one's coming in. And basically, he was called a racist.
Yeah,
we got them working. We got to watch them work in real time too. It was almost daily updates on the news every night with them doing the speeches from the White House and all that with teams and teams of people. Like,
and Trump did expedite the vaccines. No matter how you feel one way or the other about it, I'm not going to get into that. But he expedited them under the emergency authorization use. And got those things spun up the market really fast. So it came out in March,
faster than any
and by
vaccine
Thanksgiving that year, those vaccines were available.
Yeah.
So that was fast. So
I just don't get how he's going to talk about a rise in crime, but they also want to defund the police. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they won't talk about that. They also won't talk about at that same era too. When we were supposed to be locked down was when they were burning down streets and all the chaos that ensued there.
It was perfectly acceptable if you didn't wear a mask to the riot, but you can't go to church even with a mask.
Yeah, that was a good era. I don't know what else Trump could have done. I know what Biden did. Biden gave a unlawful order across the country that mandated all federal employees receive a vaccine that the Supreme Court has ruled to be illegal. So I know that this man did do that.
Yeah, I remember when they started doing the mandates. I actually left a job. I was working at the time because they said you have to have it, and I said, "All right, I'm out."
I can't go into the details of my job, but I had to stand up and do the same.
Yeah.
And Matt just said "F you," so
yeah, pretty much. I just no. You ain't gonna hit me with that needle. Sorry.
All right, let's get back into see what other fucking crazy thing he's about to spin here.
Yeah, sorry for sidetracking shit. I'm just trying to figure it all out.
People are writing the greatest.
Oh no, that's exactly what this is all about.
Never told.
Also, a side note: Kamalaharris used to be one of Montel's side chicks.
Tell it here and now.
Back in the 90s, you could look that up.
Building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. We leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccine that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
I'm not going to necessarily disagree with him there, but I'd need to see the data because I don't think that was a truthful statement.
Our heritage economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years. A record. Bullshit.
I don't even follow politics. And I know that bullshit. Yo, everywhere you go on the news, it's all about inflation, this, our economy, that, our inflation. And then he's going to say it's the envy of the world. Bullshit, dude.
Oh, we're the laughing stock of the world.
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store and try and buy some fucking food right now. It's insane.
Yeah, 40% inflation rate since that's a good spot to deposit on him, too. There's been over a 40% inflation rate since old Sleepy Joe took office.
Yeah. I'm sorry. When Biden took office, here locally, you could buy a 3-pound pack of bacon. I used to buy a lot of bacon, so I know this very well. For like $11. I was just down at the grocery store yesterday. For that same 3-pound pack of bacon, they want $36.
Hell yeah.
And
you don't mess with a man's bacon. You know how you get thrown out of office? You raise the price of fucking bacon. Okay.
I'm in bacon withdrawal right now because it's so expensive. I haven't bought me in about 3 months. So
hey, any of those watching us here on the Clip Farm, we need to get some cash apps to our buddy Matt so we can get some bacon.
Yeah, we gotta get Matt some bacon.
Damn it. But where he is, he's not really lying when he's saying that he brought all these jobs back. But what they're counting is the country was locked down for 2 years and only non-essential people weren't going to work. Basically, what he's touting is those essential the non-essential workers went back to work, and he's counting those numbers.
Well, there's
as his rate of return, and all it was the same people just went back to work is all.
Well, and the extras are covered by, okay, the economy is so bad right now, inflation is so high, people are having to work 2 and 3 different jobs. So yeah, okay, the jobs numbers are up, but they're counting part-time jobs that people have taken so they can actually feed themselves, so they don't have to make a decision between do we keep the power on or do we have food this month.
See, and I got lucky during the pandemic because me and my wife both worked during the whole thing. And then when they started pushing you had to get it or you couldn't work there, my governor stepped in and said no. So I got lucky there. But so, yeah, we worked through the whole thing. So luckily I didn't see any of that. But
kudos to DeSantis for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll get back into this. He's gonna spout some more crap about this, but that's like I said, some of those numbers are inflated. They're not. He's not necessarily wrong, but they're not accounting for. Look at the numbers from 2018 till today, and they're down.
Businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before.
Because you mandate it.
The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world and tending lower.
That isn't even kind of true.
Not even.
The landing is and will be soft.
Come on, man.
And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Right here in America, where they belong.
Really? Where?
Bullshit. You can't even buy an American flag in America that's made in America anymore.
It takes time,
they all got a made in China stamp right on them.
Consumer studies show
I can tell you where we don't get gasoline.
Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers.
But we can't pump our own oil, but we can buy
there.
it from Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and Russia.
Yeah.
Trump literally built fucking monstrosity towers. Since he brought up Trump built monstrosity towers here in America and employed hundreds of Americans, if not thousands, to build these towers, maintain these towers, and created millions of jobs. And when you say he doesn't buy, he bought a motherfucking plane from Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's an American company out of the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
What are you? Okay.
Delusion, straight delusion, propaganda.
I don't know if you know or not, Jay, but a fucking airplane is a lot more expensive than a Kia.
Yeah, for sure.
Creating good paying American jobs. And thanks to our Chips and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America.
Yeah.
Creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many.
That's all.
So they might have invented them here in America, but they outsourced them to other countries to ship back. Because wasn't that the reason Ford had to put all those brand new Broncos in the big the field because they were waiting for those
Ford
computer
had to
chips
do
to come
that.
in from.
iPhone had to put off release
Yeah.
of the last phone because of it.
Yeah, I forgot the exact place
It's
of where
80% of the world's chip population comes from Taiwan.
Yeah.
Taiwan is the main exporter of those chips, and because they've been having issues with China
Resources
and things with China, they've been having issues. And he's not wrong in the sense that America is starting to build their own. We can't even build them nowhere near on the scale that they were doing it in Taiwan.
No, our production facilities are so far behind at this point.
Yeah.
There's a guy I work with that bought a new Ford Maverick. Now, I'm not endorsing that at all, but nonetheless, he bought a new Ford Maverick, which is they're basically their new Ford Ranger. He's been waiting for 8 months for the chip for that vehicle to come in. Truck's done, but the thing can't run because it needs that damn chip. So maybe he'll get his new Ford Maverick here this year.
So well.
By the time he gets that thing, it's gonna have its 5-year fucking deflation rate.
That's gonna be a year into the warranty.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Don't buy a Ford Maverick, by the way. Whoever's listening to this.
Those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
That college degree is worth squat these days.
In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America.
How much of that you think went into him and his buddies' pockets?
10%.
And thanks.
I think that's just some generic garbage he just regurgitated. I need to see something that said otherwise. I don't believe that at all.
Announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in.
There's Pete Buttigieg. He's responsible for trains and infrastructure, roads.
If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernize our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Oh, you mean like Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
literally
not Flint.
Water on fire.
High-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in a family farm, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. Great comeback stories, Belvedere, Illinois. Home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
Those batteries cost 10 times more than motors and all that shit just to replace them.
Well, here's something you may not be familiar with, Jay. I know Matt is. So when Biden came into office and mandated all government vehicles need to be electric by, I don't remember the damn date, and California and some other states have all mandated by 2035 that all vehicles sold need to be electric vehicles. The way that you get the materials you need to make a electric car battery is out of cobalt mines. And you wouldn't believe who owns the rights to those cobalt mines.
a lot of the cobalt mines that I know about, especially in South America, are run by gangs essentially, and they're using child slave labor to dig it by hand. And by the way, if people don't know, cobalt is toxic as hell. Handling any amount of cobalt with bare hands will kill you eventually.
That's
But
crazy.
A lot of the cobalt mines are owned by this man right here.
Mm.
And for any of those that aren't familiar with, that's Hunter Biden. That is the president's son.
The smartest
So-
man that President Biden knows.
Right. And so that's a photo of him in a brothel in Las Vegas. So there you go.
Some people may recognize the device hanging from his lips.
I'm not going to speculate on what it is, but, you know, that's a picture of the president's son.
It's definitely a thermostat. It looks a little under the weather.
But yeah, so, you know, like his family
Lord.
directly benefits from the electric vehicle sales. I don't know about this Illinois plant he's talking about. It may be true. They may be spinning up electric cars because I know that the production of it is ramping up. And there is a use for electric vehicles, but to mandate everybody, that's ludicrous.
Well, I don't know that the production of electric vehicles is truly ramping up. For one, they haven't built any of these charging stations. The Biden administration put, I think it was $1.5 billion towards building charging stations across the United States when he first got into office. To date, none of them have been built. Ground has not been broken on any of these sites.
Well, I know that there's a bunch, you know, in certain states, like California's got charging stations freaking everywhere.
I'm not gonna lie. In Florida, Wawa's has a ton of them, and Walmart's are starting to get them too. But it's mainly like Tesla brand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and that's those companies putting those in to appease their customers. So it's not. But yeah, they have a lot. They have a lot that they still have to work on electric vehicles. But my point on that, whatever plant they're running there is specific to an electric vehicle. I know Ford's discontinuing a lot of electric vehicles. The rental car company Budget got rid of all their fucking electric vehicles in their fleet. It was absolutely crushing them financially. So they got rid of all of them.
All the big three automakers, Ford, Dodge, and Chevy, have all pulled back their electric vehicle production as of this year.
The technology just ain't there, and people don't want to buy them because it's like, why are you going to buy something that can't go?
Well,
that
Tesla,
far, you know what I mean?
Tesla keeps crashing. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos recently. Like Tesla's just all of a sudden veering into other lanes. The spontaneous vehicle combustion that they're doing just all the time. Like the new Cybertruck is rusting from like the first time it touches rain. It's just all kinds of neat stuff. So anyways, we'll get back into this.
I ain't gonna lie. I'd like to have a Cybertruck. Those things look pretty cool.
Yeah, wait till you see the rusty ones. They're even cooler. They look like old Ford trucks. Well.
Folks, the folks of Belvedere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America.
4,000 jobs in one plant. That's
Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up.
Sell out.
And Dawn Sims, a third generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line. And today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America.
It's true. He said something I agree with.
That's you, the American people.
I'll give him that.
It's because of you America's coming back.
I'll give him credit if he says something right. That's true.
It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
Oh, shit. Oh, excuse me.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Future of possibilities.
Yeah, they were just chanting bullshit. What the hell?
A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined.
That is
completely
incorrect there.
But I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table.
Easily demonstrated.
Come on, man.
I'm determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor go way up.
He just said Delaware.
One of the smallest states in the union has the most manufacturing jobs in the world.
Combined. He said all of the states combined.
Yeah, all of the states combined. I think you should tell Detroit about that. They might be a little surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how he spins this one. I don't know where he's coming up with it. I couldn't even tell you anything that Delaware's got going on.
I know that like a nice clothing out of the Duluth Trading Company out of Delaware.
I think what is that? Just the first state? That's it. I got nothing else. I usually drive through it when I need to go get a Philly cheesesteak. All right, back to whatever the fuck he's going to say
still do
here.
Very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
They're looking around like, what the fuck did he say? I don't know, but we got to stand and clap.
He just mumbled some gibberish.
Proposed and signed. Not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit. And I want to. But what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by
Pause it right here on this.
Of course, Bernie is wearing.
Who's that old goat? They said seniors, and this guy looks stressed. He's like paying attention.
That's feelthebern, Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
So what he just
socialist.
Boy, they said
what he just said right
seniors,
there.
He's just looking like he's talking to me.
Good old feelthebern, Bernie Sanders. What's interesting? He just brought up the VA right there. What a lot of the American people don't know what's happening at the VA right now is veterans that need to see their doctors, and it's pretty cut rate doctors to begin with, not knocking anybody. I appreciate everybody that works at the VA. But what I will say is now illegal immigrants, that is the system that they are using. So we are now pushing veterans away from the benefits that they earned and now illegal immigrants are using that system.
Yeah.
So
So y'all got to wait in line behind the immigrants?
yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to say immigrants. We'll say illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Illegal immigrants. Yes. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do something, but somebody that fought and served this country shouldn't have to
Definitely
wait in
deserves a
line
better
behind
place.
anybody to get the service that they need.
Right. They,
Yeah,
they
that's
definitely
bullshit.
should be first ahead of somebody who came here illegally.
Yeah. And they should be first ahead of literally everybody. My opinion, I am a veteran myself. I'm not going to dive into that too much,
I'm
but
not a veteran, but I agree with what Mike said.
and you will see me bashing veterans on this channel at some point. So just understand I am a veteran. No. But all right, we'll get
Crazy.
back
I
into
don't want
this.
no smoke with veterans. I don't want no smoke with veterans.
Well,
Generally a good policy.
there's some politicians that were prior veterans. I'm not going at their service. I'm going to go at them for their political issues, not their veteran status. But when and if I need to talk about a veteran, I'll probably be the one that says something because I am a veteran. But let's get back into this. But yeah, that's Bernie Sanders. You might remember him from, he had like some famous mitten thing the other year where he looked like Mr. Burns and shit with his mittens on.
Yep.
It was all cold. So, all right, I'm going to hit this.
$160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market that treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year,
That
the
you can
same
funnel
law
to
caps
Ukraine
total
and then back
prescription
into your
drug costs
pocket.
for seniors on Medicare at $200 to $2,000 a year. Even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably.
Well, Kamala, a
Bring
little
your
stress
prescription
back
with you, and I
there.
promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal.
Still a big joke.
Let's see where he goes with
The
this.
copays for that shit was
Oh,
outrageous.
scumbag Chucky Schumer.
Dude, the copays on that shit was outrageous. I was like, no, thank you.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor,
I will say that is an
many in this
important fact
chamber
about it, though.
want
If
to
you
take
do,
this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act.
I will mention that real quick because that is a problem with a lot of health coverage. So let's say, Jay, you have, I don't know, let's say you have cancer of some sort, nothing serious.
Don't
But
put
you have
that on me.
cancer.
Give it to
Well,
Matt. Give it to Matt. Don't give that to me.
I'm just saying. All right. I have. Let's say I have some kind of low level cancer, and I know I don't have health coverage. Well, I end up getting it fixed, and I go back to work. Now, when I go to join a health plan, they will deny me because I had a pre-existing condition. I am too risky, and that is a good thing that the Obamacare did try to resolve, like essentially resolve. Now, everything else involved in it, it's crap, but these healthcare companies were denying people with pre-existing conditions, and there was a lot of people that suffered because of it.
That's
Well,
fair.
that's the point of having healthcare. Why? That's bullshit that they would deny them because they had. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, and
last
that's
year
what
you
I'm
got
saying.
treated
The
for cancer.
affordable, the Obamacare, that was one of the main things. Like it's
not like you can just
was
buy a new
essentially
body. It ain't a car. You know what I mean? You can't. They ain't
it
gonna
was
be like, oh,
essentially a
your
Ponzi
car's
scheme. But yeah, that was one of the very few things in there that I absolutely agreed with. But they could have very easily added that into Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I will.
If they left the system alone and implemented just that, it would have been far better, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'll call a spade, and I do agree with him that pre-existing conditions, companies should not be able to deny you because you had a pre-existing condition. Now they can raise your rates and all that, but like people were just getting flat out denied, and that's crap.
Yeah,
So,
that's straight up.
Right back.
Bullshit.
That's what that is.
bullshit. All right, we'll get back into this.
I'm not going to let that happen.
It wasn't me booing.
We stopped you 50 times before we will stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. They enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce healthcare costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious,
He looks
women
like
are
a
more than
Jeff
half our
Dunham puppet.
population. But research on women's health,
I swear, it
has
looks
always
like
been
Frenchie
underfunded.
Stewart from fucking Third Rock
That's
from the
why we're
Sun.
launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
That suit's on loan from Hillary Clinton.
We're passing a plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well. And the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
What?
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is
Okay, kind of call some bullshit on some of that. So when inflation goes up and people have bills to pay, so if you own an apartment complex and all of a sudden your rates go up, that's why you have to charge your tenants more.
Yeah. Dude, rent is through the fucking roof right now.
Yeah.
Like it is insane. Like the prices are like, oh my God.
That's because of the inflation rate currently.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The inflation rate's insane. And what he's basically saying there is they're going to try to hold. So if you own an apartment complex and let's say your people are renting $1,000 a month, I know we all live in different areas and prices are very different, but let's just use easy numbers.
Right.
$1,000 a month, you have 4 units. That means you're making $4,000. And let's say the property that you own costs you $2,500, but when they raise the interest rates and the value of the dollar, now your profit margin that was $1,500 becomes a negative. You have to pass that on to people living in your house. It just is what it is. Unfortunately, but what he's trying to do, or what they're trying to say to do, is if you're a landlord, you're only going to be allowed to raise a rate a set percentage, not necessarily in line with the actual inflation rate. So, whatever they set that percentage at, the government's going to say, nope, you can only raise it fucking 0.5% every year. You just get you'll just get railroaded as a landlord. It's gonna
It's
will
gonna make it to where
cause
it's not gonna be worth even fucking investing in apartments and condos and shit.
yeah, everything's gonna end up being owned by like I know Amazon's been buying up properties because they're gonna start renting places out. So pretty soon you're gonna be your whole life's gonna be controlled by like Amazon. They're gonna buy apartment complexes and different things. Your whole house or apartment will be wired up to listen to everything you say and do, and it's the future is scary. But that's a show. That's a topic for another show. But yeah,
That's a little tinfoil hat for me, but I get it. I get where you're going.
I'll show you some of my proof in a future video about that, but I won't dive too deep into that right now. But all right, we'll hit it again.
Is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass.
That are going to illegal immigrants for the most part.
Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
So 2 million is nothing.
To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I, like I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year.
As somebody that's paying for preschool, it's not that expensive.
I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
Aren't all kids required to go to preschool?
That's
Can we pause it for a second?
Yep. Not actual requirement.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, so as like a father of 3, I ain't gonna lie, we had our kids in preschool and we paid for it. And I mean, it helped out a lot just for the fact that you didn't have to pay a babysitter or whatever. It was cheaper just to send them to preschool.
Right.
So preschool is dope. That if you can get it for free, it would help out a lot.
Yeah,
because like me and my wife both work full-time jobs, so preschool was definitely a move we had to make because it was cheaper. It was cheaper to send them to preschool than it was paying a babysitter. Yeah, so it helped out a lot.
Yeah, and I also have my child in preschool as well, and I did notice a big difference in his developing gap. So
yeah,
especially because my son was born right in the height of the pandemic, so we kind of hunkered down. So it made a big difference in my son's life. Now, my son will graduate high school, so I can tell you that right now. I don't know that we'll be encouraging necessarily college. My son will figure out what he wants to do in life, and we will encourage him to go whatever route that is. It may or may not be college, but that's interesting. It's interesting. Just those numbers, that has nothing to do with the political party.
No.
And if those numbers are that correct, I could see why we would want to try to government fund that for sure. So
yeah,
if those numbers are correct, I would definitely be on board and supporting that.
I question the numbers just on principle, but
yeah,
my kids are a lot older than both of you guys. My kids are, in their 30s essentially. But both
your
of them
kids are my age.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, I'm a little older than I look. I say, but yeah, both my kids went to preschool as well, and me and my wife at the time paid for that. Kind of like you, Jay. It was cheaper than sending them to freaking preschool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I currently pay, I don't know what it is, because we weren't paying for daycare. My wife is a stay-at-home, take care of my kid type of person. So preschool actually costs me money. And so I don't know, but I see the value in it. And I
Yeah.
could see, I don't know that I'd want a government regulate. I was very picky about my kids' preschool.
Well, I definitely don't want it government regulated, because I don't want the DEI programs and all the rest of the stuff that they're trying to shove down the kids' throats these days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a 5-year-old child should not be learning about sexuality, period.
Exactly.
I agree with that 1,000,000%. Like, 1,000,000%.
They have no concept of it. It is way too premature.
Let's get back into this and see what else he's got to say. Holy crap, there was 93,000 people watching this.
The leaders of the Business Roundtable, they were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education.
Joe doesn't have any clue where he is. You know that. Joe doesn't have any clue where he is. You know that.
182. Those folks, don't hold me the exact number. And I asked them what they
Look
need
at Kamala
most.
having a panic
CEOs.
attack right now.
And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them.
If there were ever
I
a
say,
face
I
of
come
a
from
person with their butthole
DuPont
puckered,
used
it
to
is
be the
definitely
8th
not
largest
what she
corporation in
has
the
on
world.
right now.
And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
I was reading by 1st grade, but
I'm also connecting local
I still
businesses
can't
and high
read.
school so students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure the college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions.
Can you pause it for a second?
Yep.
When I was
So with the summer school thing, we always enrolled our kids in summer school just for the fact that we didn't have to pay a babysitter. They would go to school. You know what I mean? And it was like that. So yeah, there's that. And then about the high school thing and going to college and all that. What if they made like some sort of trade schools, like a part of, you know what I mean, the high school thing?
trade schools should see. That's just it. I say I'm a little older, like we've discussed. Back when I was in high school, junior high and high school, you had wood shop, you had metal shop, you had auto shop, teaching trade skills. You could come out of high school and be prepared to go into a construction job, to go into a welding profession, to be an auto mechanic. But they got rid of a lot of those. Most places have gotten rid of those programs because
for like insurance liabilities and shit like that.
Well, for insurance liabilities and one thing like that, which, considering some of the things I saw in high school, wood shop and metal shop, I can understand.
Bunch of punk teenagers.
I lived in my shop classes in school too, and I watched kids cut their fingers off and all kinds of crazy shit. But I do get what he's saying, and I also think the way that Jay was trying to ask the question was, so like if you wanted to join a union and you wanted to be a pipe fitter, that's more of a specialty, and so sometimes you have to go to a school for 6 months or a year. Is there a way? Would there be a way for that high school to offer that program to get you certified? If you wanted to be a pipe fitter or a welder or to be a mechanic, you need an ASC certification, and could we, instead of doing college, because I know there's a lot of like the delayed entry program, kids can go and get their associates by the time they graduate high school. If your kid wanted to be HVAC tech or something like that, have something similar for those kids. And I'm sure there's some schools that offer it. State to state is different.
Yeah.
And between our 3 states, it's wildly different between all 3 of our states. But federally recognized would be interesting concept for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they in my school we had like 2 options. It was like printing or what was it? It was printing or auto body. So I'm like, sign me up for auto body. And they gave me printing, and I would just sleep in class. And then they're like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want auto body. And they gave me auto body. This is the only class at school I liked.
Yeah, I got so lucky in my high school, man. All my shop classes, some of them counted for science, some of them counted for other crap. So like out of the 6 classes I had to take every day, 4 of them were shop. I just lived. And I was that kid that I had a full wood shop at home and a mechanic shop. So I would screw off all year. And at the end of the year, when I had to turn in a project, I'd go home and bang it out in one night and fucking turn it in. Done.
There you go.
All done. My shop teachers hated me because I had way better equipment and stuff at home. So like I was just screwed off at school. But I always completed the whatever stupid task they needed me to. But all right, I'll hit this again.
My bad. I keep throwing it off the rails.
No, we're good, man. Let me double check this real quick because yeah.
Told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college. And folks, look. Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise. And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans.
Cut the deficit.
I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion.
Incorrect.
The bipartisan.
Total bullshit.
We are spending as a country $1 trillion every 100 days.
Yeah.
And our annual GDP here in this country is $3 trillion. That means our country makes $3 trillion a year, and we are spending $1 trillion. So there's 65 days out of the year that we don't have money for.
I was reading something today that said we're our spending is like at 124% of the GDP right now.
So that is an incorrect statement. So we'll let him keep talking about this bull crap.
A bullshit?
Oh, bullshit.
That's right. $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
God, I'm tired of that talking point.
Look, I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make $1 million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes. A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy, the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit.
You see that guy behind him rolling his eyes and shaking his head?
Yeah, because it's what he's saying is bullshit. It's not true.
Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody.
So what they fail to realize is these big corporations employ hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And something else I'd like to mention on that. Big corporations, quote unquote, the top 1% of wage earners in the United States, pay over 50% of the total tax burden that the federal government takes in. So are they not paying their fair share already?
Not only that, they're employing a whole bunch of middle class Americans that are taxed at a 38%, or not 38, but 24% federal tax rate, and then your state, varies.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're employing a bunch of people, they're also paying taxes. This is just a moot talking point, and this is exactly why people are moving out of the state of New York, investors and different stuff, because they're saying these stupid things like your corporation's making so much money, when in fact they're not. So,
and don't you think if you're a corporation and you actually get fined for making more money, like if you got a break for making more money, you try to figure out a way to make the most money as you can.
Right.
For not only your employees, and you employ more people, and it builds and grows. Like it
That's
makes
the point
sense
of
to
the
give
tax breaks that
corporations
he was
tax
talking
breaks.
about. I said that's where the $2 billion in tax breaks that he was talking about came in. That spurred the economy to actual growth. I say if you take that kind of stuff away, like you say, the employer knows if they make over X amount of dollars, they're going to be taxed at a higher rate. Oh, you made too much money, so we're going to take it from you. So they have no incentive to grow. They have no incentive to hire more people.
Also, this dude's been a politician since the 70s. He's been a part of all of the laws and bills that have been passed over the last 50 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has a problem with it. But when it's been benefiting him, his family, and his son, none of that mattered. All of it was this dude is just a complete hypocrite. And they keep panning to all these idiots in the crowd, like Nancy Pelosi. She made literally like $100 million on fucking credit card crap. So where's Nancy Pelosi's tax returns? Let's see Bernie Sanders. Let's see Chuck Schumer's. Let's see all these scumbags.
Yeah, I would love to see Joe Biden's tax returns.
Yeah, that's why I don't follow this shit, man, because they're all like, they'll say one thing and then completely do something else, and they literally go where they're making the most money. Like,
right.
They're not actually out to help anybody. They're out for them damn selves and what they can get.
Yeah, well, basically what he's doing is pandering to his audience, his voting base.
Yeah,
he's telling them what they want to hear.
Politicians and diapers have a lot in common. They need to be changed frequently.
And for the same reasons.
For the same reasons. All right, let's listen to more of this fucking garbage.
Earning less than $400,000 you'll pay additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet.
Yeah, yes, we have.
Yes, we have. And inflation costs.
The child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit.
Where the hell did we get that?
No child should go hungry in this country.
Correct. That is true.
The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations, the very wealthy, begin to pay their fair share.
There we go.
Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero.
Incorrect.
Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes.
They pay more than that
it's time
now,
to raise
Joe.
Corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
That would still be a tax break for them, idiot.
Finally begins to pay their fair share.
Yeah, you see the lady wearing the "Make America Great Again" hat.
Tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private
I wonder if
jets,
that's. I didn't catch it. That must be like Lauren Boebert, I think.
$1 million that could be deducted.
Probably.
They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
Your laws that you've passed over the years have done that.
I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America.
Yo, he's
Imagine
gonna
a
piss
future
off a
with
shitload of
affordable
billionaires
childcare.
talking about you got to pay
Millions
me
of families can
25% of the
they
money
need
you
to
make.
go to work to help grow the economy.
Yeah,
Imagine a future.
so a lot of the problem with that is a lot of those billionaires, like, they've paid taxes on that money.
Yeah.
Does that mean every year I have $1 billion this year, you tax me at 25%, fine, right? Then next year that money's already been taxed. So
Yeah.
I still have, you know, 750,000 or $750 million. Are you going to tax me again?
Yeah.
Or do I have 700? And that's where a lot of people fail to realize these people that make this money have paid taxes on that money. Now,
Yeah, it
they've
wasn't just
accumulated
fucking
a lot.
free money.
No, not at all.
They've accumulated a lot, but yeah, it's wild. But yeah, like tax codes and all that stuff, he's been a part of all of that for the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So him
Joe
and all the
Biden.
people that are clapping and hyena laughing and hoo-hawing, they've all been sitting on Capitol Hill for 30, 40 years. So
And Joe Biden has literally been in politics a vast majority of my life. I think I was 4 years old when Joe Biden entered politics.
yeah, he was back in the 70s. So, all right, I'll hit this again, and hopefully he'll be done.
He
with
used to
this
say some
talking
wild
point.
shit too.
Because no one should have to choose between
Oh,
working and taking
I
care
have
of
some
their sick
I have
family
some
members.
stuff queued up here in a minute. I just been waiting for him to say something.
Imagine the future of home care and elder care and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side, I will stop you.
That's weird. It glitched there.
Yeah, I think we skipped a minute there.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do.
Yeah, go
It's
back.
not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no.
He's so
You
full
guys
of
don't
shit.
want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was.
Look at the guy wearing the shirt that said never
Well,
surrender and
that's good to hear.
it's Trump's mugshot.
You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealth. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share. Look,
Come on, man.
too many
Come on, man.
raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called
Joe
food
doesn't have
pricing.
any clue where he
Pass
is. You
Bobby
know
Casey's
that.
bill and stop this. I really mean it.
Really, that's your big fucking issue in the State of the Union. Your Lay's potato chip bag is full of air.
They gave me 5 less chips in my bag. It's called shrinkflation, and it's a direct result of the Fed just continuing to jack the rate up.
Yeah,
You know,
those bags of potato
$20
chips ain't the only thing full of air, you fucking airhead.
$20 ain't $20 in Joe Biden's economy. $20 is $10. Of course, companies have to do that. Oh, they still have to make money to pay your fucking 25%.
Well, and the reason the companies are doing that is because they know if they raise the price point on certain items above a certain point, people are just not going to buy it. So they make the bag smaller, or they, you know, whatever, however they do it, they make the product just a little bit less. Like for toilet paper, used to be, you know, there were so many tissue or so many individual squares per roll. Well, if you went back 5 years and found a roll of toilet paper from then and compared it to one today, you're probably at like a third less squares on the roll type thing, or at least a quarter.
Yeah, there's a few less wipes in there.
Yeah, his logic is like, we want it. We want all of it. And you're in fact gonna give it to us and pay us to take it from you. How about, like, that's how it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, when their costs go up, they either have to raise the prices, or it's like Gatorade used to be in 32-ounce bottles. Now it's in 28-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
The prices have gone up slightly, but they were able to shrink down the amount roughly 4 ounces. Same thing with chips. It was like a half an ounce, which equivalated to like 5 or 6 chips. So he's not wrong. They are doing that. However, they're trying not to pass on the cost to the customer. So, and then you're talking about now taking what you just said in your previous point. You want to charge them 25%. You want to think that they're going to shrink more stuff and raise the prices? This is exactly what happens.
Yeah, go to McDonald's. The food's getting smaller and the prices are going way up. And it's like, it's crazy, man.
Well,
just McDonald's and fast food in general. The food's getting smaller and the prices are going up.
Pretty soon, McDonald's is actually going to be selling actual food.
Yeah. I say that has some to do with inflation, but it's more to do with these minimum wage hikes. Like California just voted $20 or $25 a freaking hour as the minimum wage.
Yeah, you notice when they started touting all that and started doing all that shit, that's when all these self-checkout machines start pulling up, because they're like,
and
all right,
robots.
We're going to invest the money in to replacing you people. Basically what happened.
Because they can't afford to hire people.
Yeah.
Yep. Look at what's happening in the Tesla factory. It's a shitload of robots.
Yeah. Right, and look at it. They can go, okay, we could pay a person X amount per year to stand there and cash people out. So we'd need paid at least 3 or 4 people for each shift. You know what I mean? Or you can invest the money in the machine and have the machine do it. Yep. And over time, you're actually making money off of it.
Yep. You're just paying one person instead of a bunch of people. So
yeah.
Because you still have to have somebody there to manage it. But all right, we'll get back into this. See what else he's got. Chips. I know my goldfish are getting expensive.
You probably all saw that commercial on
the price of snacks is too damn high.
My M&M bag got really small. Look at this.
You got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it.
Look at these Publix cookies. They're
I'm also getting rid of
$4.79.
Fees.
4 years ago,
$3.99. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8.
Okay.
Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30-some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating.
Just pay your shit on time. You ain't got to worry about it.
Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there.
Where is he pulling these numbers from?
My administration has proposed rules to make cable,
straight out of the chocolate starfish,
utilities, online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front, so there are no surprises. It matters. It matters.
That was a good bill that Trump made
so
there.
Is this.
All right.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen.
Oh, bullshit.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, we better not.
conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million.
Joe doesn't have any clue where he is. You know that.
None. So currently he's got 21,000 plus Border Patrol agents that work for him on the southern border. Him and cackling Kamalaharris back there, she's the one that's supposed to be the border czar,
Yeah.
have not met the director of CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. Neither of them. 7.8 million illegal immigrants have poured into this country since he took office.
And that's
They're
just
literally
ones we know
filling
about.
cities, streets, and stadiums, and airports, and fucking go to Texas. They're literally walking across the fucking border. There's no border. They're just walking into Texas.
There was a Washington State Patrol officer, I can't remember his name offhand, was killed last week from an illegal immigrant.
I read that.
There was a child in Georgia just recently, I don't know if it was a vehicle or a gun, but was just recently killed by an illegal immigrant. There is American families that are suffering because of this administration's border policy.
Yeah, you want to talk crime rates? Look at the crime rates from how all these people just walking into the country is going to be. It's going to be insane.
Yep.
And there's no way to document any of them. Criminals from other countries just walking here and getting a free ride. It's nuts.
And when he's saying bipartisan, there is rules already established. Stop letting them into our country unvetted. And what it does too, when we're allowing 7.8 million illegal immigrants in this country, there is actual legal immigrants trying to come here, and it backlogs people that are trying to do it the right way.
Yeah. And
So
those people get put off because, oh, well, we've already taken in 7.8 million. We really, we're not going to allow you to come here legally because the illegal population has already beat you to the punch, essentially.
Yeah. And this fucking country is made off immigrants, but it's immigrants that came here the legal way and did it through the proper channels, not just fucking showed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so it's the border stuff, we'll let him. This is going to be one where I'm going to have to probably turn off my mic and my camera on this rest of this segment. But
yeah, I'm going to turn down my soundboard because it'll be a lot of bullshit and I don't want to ruin the video.
Yeah, we'll let this play, but this is just absolute travesty. America's feeling it, and it's not fair. So we'll let Joe, fucking Sleepy Joe, talk about what he's got to talk about here, but this is just a bunch of garbage that he's spewing.
4,300 more asylum officers and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
Even that guy knows it's bullshit.
100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children.
How about the millions of migrants pouring across the border that are carrying backpacks of fentanyl? They don't seem to give a shit about that.
Me and any new president, new emergency authority temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
You already have that authority.
Bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far.
You're holding it ransom. You want a shitload of money to funnel Ukraine.
You're fucking demand they block the bill. He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
Damn, I wish we could have heard that.
I didn't hear what was said.
Look, there's the hat.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by,
You don't have to anymore. You can just walk right across.
Country, it's 6 to 8 years.
They still need
before
coyotes
they
to get them
hearing.
across. They won't allow them to cross. The Mexican cartel won't allow them without being paid.
But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
He's so full of shit.
Did hear him say something about drugs I found interesting. So hopefully he'll dive more into that.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not.
Immigrants? No. Illegal immigrants? Yes.
I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border.
You opened the border.
For dreamers.
Secure
so much more. But unlike my predecessor,
anybody with a half a brain can look at the numbers
I know who we are as
between the last
Americans.
administration and this one.
We're the only nation in the world
that
with
is
a heart
pure
and soul
BS.
that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, and ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are possible anywhere, but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans. Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it.
Stop breaking it. We won't have to fix it anymore, dumbass.
Send me the bill now.
Freaking bunch of trained seals.
Transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama.
Ooh.
Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him. But joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
Yeah. No thanks to the Democrats, as I recall.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But 59 years later, their forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion.
All right. And we have politicians saying things like this.
I mean, you've got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and nice. looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
That is our president talking about Obama.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and he, I don't know if you ever saw that, old Jay, but that is our president, and he's talking about race. This guy is a fucking joke. Let me make sure I put that back.
He's so
up.
flip-floppy, bro. But most politicians are like, you can go and look up almost any politician and you'd be able to find them. You could, that should be a video right there. Literally a politician arguing with himself over the years. Like,
That's a good idea.
how flip-floppy they are.
That's a very
Oh.
good idea.
You know what I mean?
That is it. Well, what we could do is between any of the three of us, we could do, like, I'll say, hey, you get this argument point from this politician, and I'll find the other one, and we'll come up on one of these panels and we'll battle it out.
Literally the same person, just have them battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how
You take-
freaking wishy-washy they are. That's why I never really get into it, man.
Yeah.
They go where their money tells them to go. That's it.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll get back into this. But yeah, he's trying to race bait right now, which is a thing. And the other thing I will say, this is the biggest audience that Joe Biden is going to get coming up into this election year, because he can't pull numbers like this. He's got 91,000 on just this stream, not the clip farm, but the stream that we're watching. And then all the other ones, he's probably got several million people watching this, and this will be the biggest audience he'll get until November.
You think they're going to do a debate or no?
No.
Trump will show up for the debate for sure.
Trump will be there for it. Biden is not going to show up to a debate, because every time he's gone against Trump before, Trump has destroyed him.
Yeah, and he's progressively getting worse as far as with his stumbles and
Biden's mental deficiencies are. I'm sorry, my mother had dementia. I recognize the signs and symptoms. Joe Biden has dementia. Period.
Well, and our court already decided that he's not capable
fit to stand trial.
He's not fit to stand trial, but he is fit enough to run our country. Apparently.
Yeah, this man is not fit to stand trial for the crimes that he's committed, but he's fit to run this nation. Why hasn't the 25th Amendment been invoked? If he's not fit to stand trial, that should have been an automatic for the 25th.
But then, wouldn't Kamala be the president then? I mean, I'd rather
yes.
I would rather have Sleepy Joe than old fucking Kamala there.
Well, and here's the thing: if you're on the conservative side of the House, the conservatives are controlling the House, so they could have 25th Amendmented him already. I don't know.
Well,
no idea. But we'll press on anyways. But yeah, I would love to see him and Trump debate. They could talk about
to see it, but I know it's not.
They could talk about their storage of classified documents. You know.
Oh yes, just that alone would be interesting.
Yep. Like I said, Hillary Clinton could probably give him a good server.
Yeah. She got a new one set up in a bathroom someplace.
Jay doesn't know what we're talking about, but Joe Biden got hit recently. I think this last year, he had a bunch of classified documents that was found in his Delaware home. But don't worry.
Didn't they just get Trump on some shit like that?
Yeah.
They raided his house in Florida.
They raided Mar-a-Lago, busted into the skiff that he had in Mar-a-Lago. A skiff is a secure room for storage of classified documents. But Joe Biden, who got most of the documents he has while he was vice president under Obama, and was storing them in his garage with his Corvette, by Biden's own admission, by the way, that's just not talked about.
So it's okay for them to go after Trump for that, but literally the exact same thing they can't go after Biden for.
Right.
Well, in all fairness, currently he is. So when that was found, he is the president of the United States. You cannot go after him.
Yeah.
So there is a distinct difference there between the two. So it's just one of those things. It will be interesting to hear. I would love to see those two debate, because it would be wildly entertaining. But I would bet money that they will not debate each other.
Come on, man.
All right, let's hit this again. He's gonna bait us. They're race baiting right now.
Unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering, John
Oh,
Lewis was
you
a
mean
great
like
friend
the
to
dark
many of
money
us
you're
here.
getting from
But
like
if you truly
17
want to honor
separate
him
nations?
and all the heroes that marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Right Act. And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights.
Tearing down statues
Pass
of
the
history
Equality
is
Act.
okay. Okay.
And my message of
Also, any
transgender
conservative
Americans,
voice on any of these social media
I have your
platforms
back.
have been getting removed.
Mm-hmm.
Pass
That's why
the
we
PRO
have to be
Act
so
for
cautious about
workers'
what we
rights.
say because our YouTube overlords.
I would
will
love to just
bump
wild
us.
out. I tell you
Raise
that.
the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
Which has been paid for but not done.
30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade. To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. The year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up.
Bullshit.
Fuck that.
I did see though recently Chicago had a shooting-free day. It was the 7th one in 5 years.
Oh, hey.
Let's give a shout out to Chicago for having a
Right.
shooting-free day.
It's the safest it's
Chicago.
ever been. We literally arrest criminals and turn around and let them out
Yeah.
within hours of committing felonies. Oh man, dude!
You want to know? This is going to be a good.
How do
Go
people
ahead.
fall for
Go ahead,
this
Matt.
shit? It's common sense. How the fuck do they fall for this bullshit?
Because they honestly, when people are watching this, after it's over, they'll go to the news source. Will go in there, and they're basically paid to push certain points.
Yeah.
So,
Like I ain't gonna say Trump's an angel because he's definitely not no angel, but he don't lie like this motherfucker. This motherfucker lies.
Well, thanks to the modification of the Smith-Mundt Act under Obama, propaganda is now legal to speak to the American public. So, you know, old Joe was VP during that and had a lot to do with it. So,
speaking of crime, I don't know if you know this, Jay, but President Biden was one of the original writers of the 1994 crime bill. And this was one of his pitches, so I'm going to play it real quick for you.
Drugs and the president's thought on the situation. He's long spoken out against drugs, including crack cocaine. Take a listen to what he had to say all the way back in 1991.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail.
5 years.
Can we show a picture of the president's son once more, please?
There we go. I don't know what that is.
Where's his 5 years?
Also,
Just
this
asking.
is back in July, I don't know if you caught or remember this news story, but cocaine was found in the White House.
And
Seems like somebody should be doing 5
Was
years.
that real? I thought that was a troll.
No,
Is
that's
that,
legit.
That
That
they
is
really
legit.
found blow in the White House.
I think the White House is one of the most secure places on the planet. It's not the most secure, but it is one of them. There are over 700 cameras in the White House. We have DNA and fingerprint technology that is better than any time in history. But they couldn't figure out who that bag belonged to.
Yeah, they had no idea. Now this is just a photo of his son. Not saying that it was Hunter's, but this is Hunter Biden with the news story. It's not necessarily his. So no fake news. They don't know whose cocaine that was.
We don't know whose it was because the FBI would not pursue the investigation.
I would venture to guess.
I'm pretty sure they got surveillance on the door of whatever fucking room it was found in, to where they knew exactly. They probably figured that shit out in like 2 hours, and they were like,
that's just it. They lied about where it was found like 3 times before the truth actually came out.
The thing that bothers me the most is I don't give a fuck if his son wants to be a crackhead, but how many other people's fathers, mothers, grandmothers, everybody were taken away for 5 years, according to that man's fucking words. They lost their livelihoods and their family for years.
But his son gets to be let off the hook without any consequence for more than just that, by the way. There's a gun charge that Hunter evaded very neatly as well.
God, that's bullshit.
So it's really hard to take this. Like I said, the crack that was found in, like, literally America's house turned into the crack house. At no point in history has that been at least reported on before. Sure didn't happen, dude. They would have lit Trump up 24/7 if any of Trump's kids would have done something like that.
Oh yeah,
but
anybody, not just Trump.
It just feels like we're letting this guy run the country right here. Good day, mate. All right, we'll get back to this. I feel like we're getting close to the end.
The biggest increase in history.
What was that? Go back.
It was
That's not me.
Through my American
Can you rewind that?
Plan, which every American voted against, I might add.
The fuck was that?
Made the largest investment
in
public safety ever.
Can I go back just a hair? Where is it at? 42. Where are we at right now? 40. Go right there.
More than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't.
Way too far.
I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBEW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution.
I think it rewound too far.
And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade. To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against.
Something about Marines.
We made the largest investment in public safety ever.
Oh,
Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history.
Sound like he was yelling something about
Crime
Marines.
fell to one of its lowest
we'll have to talk
levels in more
about
than
that on a
50
different
years.
one of these.
But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America.
Why is domestic violence only got to be women? Men get domestically abused too.
Yeah, they do. Violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family.
This is where they're going to try to take a stab at taking our guns.
Mm-hmm.
Do something.
They gotta tell us something really sad, which is sad. I'm sorry for that girl and their classmates, but
that the vice president is leading the charge.
the Uvalde school was saved by an awesome officer that ran towards gunfire and stopped it.
Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
What does taking guns away from law-abiding citizens have to do with criminals committing horrible fucking acts of violence with guns? Has nothing to do with.
It'd be the same as ending DUI deaths by taking everybody that doesn't drink driver's license away.
Yeah. Or taking forks away from fat people.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit.
Oh, excuse me. Large people. I'm a fat boy, so screw y'all. Fat. How about that?
All right. Anyways, they're going to make a push at taking our guns, but the Uvalde school shooting was a travesty, and I'm sorry that that girl that they showed on here lost her sibling.
Oh, yeah. My heart goes out to him.
Yeah.
But I watched the footage of that. That officer got there and responded within, it was fast, and he ran right towards that gunfire.
Yeah. Against the orders of his chief, if I recall correctly.
So, yeah, it's a travesty, but a bad guy with a gun was stopped. And if I remember correctly, that was a transmission individual, I believe, that went up to that school.
Well, that's something I was going to mention myself. Let's take a quick glance at some of these former shootings here in recent years. There's been a lot of transmission types that have been doing this. So
we'll dive more into that on a different show, because we got to be more cautious about how we say things.
Whole ball of wax.
It's definitely, I believe, more of a mental health issue than a gun control issue.
Exactly.
Right. So, all right, let's get back into this. He's gonna, like I said, it's not gonna be a surprise. They're coming after our guns. Also, Donald Trump did do a bunch of gun reform. He banned the bump stop, which lost in the Supreme Court, and you can have the bump stop back. But Trump did go after some gun reform as well. Was pushing for stricter background checks and some other things.
That's something I will say on Trump that I was a little bit irritated at. I'm sorry, a bump stock doesn't. Yes, it does help increase the rate of fire, but your fire is now a lot more inaccurate because you can't control it.
Yeah.
I say you cannot get rounds on target repeatedly with a bump stock. That is just a fact. I say you're going to be spraying and praying. I don't know about y'all, but my finger is pretty damn quick. I can pull that trigger and empty a mag fast as I want.
The ladies must love you.
It is a secondary talent.
All right, let's hit this again.
I'm proud we beat the NRA by signing most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
It will never get approved.
Universal background checks. None of this. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners. You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust.
Yet you still send money to Hamas.
Taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also...
Here's a thought. Quit sending them money and maybe they'll send them home quicker.
He's making a push for his Minnesota because he got waxed in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards under hospitals, daycare centers, and all
they're also coming in our border.
Israel also has a
open.
fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin, families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last.
That would be because Hamas embeds themselves in civilian installations and steals all the aid that comes in.
And ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, I'm just not going to speak on this because it's
enduring something more enduring.
Yeah, no, I get you.
The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop there because I will speak on that. He just said he is going to put your American troops there in the middle of a battle that has nothing to do with us.
Where at?
Gaza.
Gaza. It's in between Palestine and Israel. They're
war.
fighting.
What the fuck?
They're fighting, but he's going to drop our U.S. troops there.
So we can build a port so they can give more aid to Gaza.
And yeah, I don't
To
agree
the
with that.
Palestinians.
I don't agree with it, but let's see what else he's got to say. But yeah, he just said he's going to put our loved ones in harm's way. So here we go.
And I don't know too
US
much about
boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable.
I'm choosing
massive
not to
increase
speak on it
in
because it upsets
humanitarian
me.
assistance getting into Gaza every day. And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. They're announcing.
How is that on Israel?
They're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. For the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
That Hamas has repeatedly rejected.
Also, none of our business.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what does this have to do with America solving our fucking problems? We're broke. We spend more money on
one has a
bullshit.
stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge.
Well, the
anyone.
reason it has to do with us is because we're friends with Israel and we're not with fucking Palestine. That's basically it in a nutshell. Israel's our friends and Palestine is not. And so that there's a lot more to it than that, but that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not our business.
No, we should not be interfering with their. I mean, there are reasons that we have interfered with that conflict over the years. However, we shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be getting involved in this, but here we go.
I'm the only American president to visit Israel in wartime, but there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. There's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America's falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade.
That was a good
and we're
point.
standing up against China's unfair economic practices.
Yeah, China overtook the U.S. economy 6 years ago now.
I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. We're in a stronger position to win the conflict in the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well.
Trump sanctioned the shit out of China.
Trump will go to China just to tell them how shitty they are, and then like walk around like he owns the place. Like, yeah.
Trump absolutely did. Like, he did a lot of shit. He defended like this dude's such. He's just saying crap that's it's not true, even kind of. He's just yapping.
It's like one of those things like, oh, he said it on TV, it's got to be true. So people believe the bullshit, bro. But
well, that's crazy. The big problem. Most liberals watch this and are eating up every single word that he says is gospel.
Yeah.
Never mind fact, never mind reality.
It's fucking common sense. It's like, do a little research on the shit. You know, like, fuck. Like, I don't follow this shit at all because it's a headache and it's annoying and most of it's bullshit. But for someone that doesn't even follow it, I know it's bullshit. I know when someone's feeding me a line of complete bullshit.
Which is what's nice. And this is why I really did want you on this panel.
Exactly.
With
someone with little political depth, not insulting you in any manner, but someone without the political knowledge that Mike and I have. And I'll admit, Mike is far more up on things than I am.
Yeah.
Because I quit watching a while ago just because I was disgusted. But yeah, your opinion, like you say, you don't follow this stuff and you still can call the BS.
Yeah. Like even with Trump, like, bro, like I'm not a huge Trump supporter or anything, but if I have to go Biden versus Trump, which one do you got to pick? And you got one or two, like, fuck, I wish there was another option. I honestly wish there was another option.
I feel you there, but I think he is the best man for the job right now.
Yep, we'll have more shows where we talk about some of that stuff in the future, but let's listen to more of these lies.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. There's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever.
I will give him props on that. So, Jay, you may not know this. I've done a panel before, and I explained the PACT Act. This was a fantastic bill for veterans, and it basically, a lot of veterans struggle to get their disability checks when they get out. And the reason why is because you need a threefold to get it. You need to be able to prove that the military caused the injury. You need to be able to show that you have a current diagnosis of whatever said injury is. And then you need to like a statement basically explaining how it affects your life. And basically what the PACT Act did was give you proof. And so it really made a big difference. And I've helped a lot of veterans get their benefits because of the PACT Act. And I will give Joe Biden his props on that.
I will go after Biden a little bit on the PACT Act, not on the PACT Act itself, but on all the pork that they put in with that bill and, snuck it under the radar to screw the American population even more.
But with him speaking about the PACT Act as a veteran and as somebody that's helping veterans get their benefits, this was a big deal. So whoever's watching this, even though we've been shitting on Biden this whole time, a spade is a spade. He did a good job with this one. So
yeah, I'll give him credit for that. Like I say, I'm just irritated about all the pork they threw in on that bill to boot.
And I'd like to make a note. I'm not shitting on Biden. I'm just calling out bullshit. I will do the same to Donald Trump, and I don't give a fuck.
He's neutral. As Mike and I are the partisans here, more or less.
I did say at the start of this, I do lean very conservative. So
yeah,
but I will shit on a conservative too. So
oh yeah, I don't care who it is. I'm gonna call out their BS, and there will be videos on that coming.
Dude, I can't wait for my generation to take over because it's gonna be like, watch.
Well, you got this guy up here, right here, that's clapping with his little blue suit and blue whatever. He's your generation. He's a gay Navy vet.
Okay,
He
well,
is our
fuck.
transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg. He has when he took office, we had that big train derailment up in Pennsylvania and something else, but he was on leave because he got a puppy. So he took about 2 months off because he had a puppy.
Yeah,
So-
he took family leave because him and his husband got a puppy.
So shout out to you, Pete Buttigieg, and your puppy. We're proud of you.
Why you got
American
to shit on
families.
me, Mike? You just pointed out like that. You fucking asshole.
Hey,
He's
getting
playing.
that
He's
pup-
playing the games the old people way. Okay, I'm talking about. I want new rules, do all that shit. We gonna reset the whole game, Doug. We gonna rewrite this shit.
Boom. All right, let's get back to it, man.
Oh Lordy.
Puppy is a big responsibility, though.
Did you get 2 months off?
But we owe them and their families.
You got paid 2 months off to raise that puppy, or no?
We owe it to ourselves.
I wish.
Supporting our new health research agency.
We're gonna write a bill.
Remind us.
Free family
Remind us
vacation
that
for
we
any
can
new
do
puppy.
big things.
Bro, I'll get a new
Like
puppy every
end
2 months.
cancer
That bill
as we
comes
know
up.
it.
Yeah.
And we
Fucking
will.
maternity leave. It'd be a puppy leave.
Oh my God, they got Maxine Waters out there even.
That's a hell of a
Right.
name.
Maxine
Let me
Waters.
close with this.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we'll have to show
Yay,
you Maxine
closing.
highlights.
Who's
I
he
know
close
you won't
with?
hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things.
Oh,
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
Man, if they want to make for interesting
Certain things
TV, they
become
should have
clearer
put
than
his
ever.
like opposition
I know
front
the
row. Like
American
put Trump
story.
front row.
Again
But,
and
like,
again, I've seen the contest between
DeSantis
well, I
front
mean,
row.
the
forces
guy
in
that's sitting
battle
behind him,
for the soul of our
is the
nation.
opposition. So he's the
Between
third in
those
charge
who
of the
want to pull
country.
America back
Yeah.
to the past,
Red
those who want
ties,
to move America to
Republicans,
the
blue
future.
ties, Democrats.
My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that defined America.
Can you hit pause
Honesty,
real quick and
decency,
play that clip?
dignity, equality, to respect
Which one?
The one with the quarter size crack cocaine. 'Cause
Yeah, he's
Promoting
fought his whole
freedom.
life for that.
Yeah, he's fought his whole life for this.
I gotta find it real quick. Where to go?
Drugs and the president's thought on the situation. He's long spoken out against drugs, including crack cocaine. Take a listen to what he had to say all the way back in 1991.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail.
There's freedom for
Cocaine.
you, fellas.
Cocaine found at the White House, July 2023.
It wasn't rock cocaine, but it was cocaine.
And it may or may not have been this guy. We don't know.
I'd like to point out the fact too that quarter back then in 1991 was probably worth more than the quarter nowadays that he has in his pocket.
Oh yeah.
He just got a shitload more of them in his pocket now.
All right, let's get his closing statements.
Oh.
everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor.
Lindsey Graham smiling
Now other
like a
people my
frickin'
age see it
clown.
differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution. That's not me. I was born in mid-World War II when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
He's such a fucking asshole,
I left
dude.
the law firm, became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after
The facts.
Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county council.
Look, even Kamala's shaking her head like
I
bullshit,
got elected to the
dude.
United
Oh,
States
she knows-
Senate
she
when I
knows
had
he's
no intention
racist.
of running at age 29. Then vice president, or our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Kamala's
thought-
Indian. Not
He's over here just assuming people's genders.
Yeah, where's your pronouns, Joe? You dick.
In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal, deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now.
He's a proud mom of this guy.
Yeah, you should put his quote up on the screen.
Oh, there you go.
My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are. It's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas. It'll only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future.
He's literally been yelling, ban this all night.
Finally has a fair shot, and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future.
Bullshit.
We save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all,
I see a future of my hand in your pocket.
I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans.
Pudding ain't cheap
I'll always
nowadays.
be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now.
Joe doesn't have any
let's
clue where
build
he
the
is.
future
You know
together.
that.
Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. Our troops. Thank you.
All right. So
Well,
there you go. You watched your first State of the Union.
Yeah, it just confirmed all my suspicions on politics. They are such fucking liars and con artists, man.
Oh,
Like, this shit is annoying. Like, I'm pissed off now.
I get that.
Yeah. It's one thing, like,
How can they just openly lie to your face like that? And people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vote for that guy. Like, dude, people are too far either way. We need someone down the middle that just fucking common sense, yo. It's such bullshit.
well, that's where people like us, I mean, like I said, Matt and myself have very conservative leanings, but like I said, there was a couple of things that he said that I was like, okay, yeah, I agree with. So I'll call it when I see it. But I do have very conservative leanings. There was times during Trump's State of the Union, there was shit I didn't agree with either. So, but at that era, I wasn't doing these things. I just sat on the couch and yelled at the TV like an asshole.
Yeah. And like Trump rides his own hype train a little too much too. He toots his own horn a little too much too. But I honestly believe that Trump believes the shit he says. You know what I mean? So it's like,
well, and Trump will also give you the facts, because Joe was stating numbers and different things, but there's nothing that you can use to support those numbers. So
No.
yeah, he'll just make some shit up. Trump will just avoid talking about the bullshit.
yeah,
he'd be like, yeah, that sucked, but look over here. Over here is doing better. You know what I mean? He's gonna point out the good shit. He won't point out the bad shit. But Biden will just straight up lie to your fucking face.
Yeah.
That shit is nuts.
Did you ever hear his? I don't even want to get into that.
No wonder people are so angry and worked up all the time and like doing crazy shit to each other all the time because that shit is frustrating as fuck. Like,
well, they're seeing our politicians literally lie to our face and get away with crimes on almost a daily basis now.
Yeah.
So, if there's no rules for one section of the population, I can see where a lot of people are going, well, why should I follow the rules? Because our leaders aren't.
Yeah, and I get where people get really worked up because in theory, what he's saying about the billionaires paying 25%, you're like, holy shit, yeah, that would make a big difference. But the problem is they're paying more than that now. Yeah. And they're not only that, they can take their billions and just fucking sail off into the sunset. But currently they reinvest their money into factories, into jobs, into families, into America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when people are talking about that shit, we want those billionaires to continue to do that. But it's
if you
just crazy.
overtax the billionaires, if you overtax the people who actually create jobs in this country, they're going to pull up stakes. At some point, it becomes fiscally smart to abandon whatever factories and stuff that you've got here in the United States and go to Mexico or China or Argentina or wherever where you can get away with a much lower tax rate. Why? Yeah. Because those countries will give those same corporations incentives and tax breaks so they will provide jobs to their people.
Yeah. Right. And it's going to cost them more money to make money. So it's like, why not give them an incentive? Yo, if you make more money, you ain't going to be spending as much. You know what I mean? Give an incentive to make more.
Right.
Spend more, make more, pretty much. You know what I mean? Don't fucking like.
Well, and with a lower tax rate on the corporations, that's the idea.
Yeah. Give an incentive to fucking want to make more money because then you could fucking, if they're making more money, clearly you're going to make more money. You know what I mean? Everyone makes more money. The workers, all that shit.
Yeah. Well, and what you're describing is what Reagan laid out in the 80s with trickle-down economics. If the people at the top are making the big money, it is going to trickle down through the system to the little people, quote unquote, us.
Yeah.
But we'll say we're at a little over 2 hours. We should wrap this one up so I can get it out. Yeah. I'm gonna, if you guys are good with that, I'm gonna send us out. Yeah. We will be back to do this again. Well, not the State of the Union, but we'll be back to talk. You know, me and Matt are definitely into talking about politics. Jay, probably not so much.
I'm frustrated, man. I don't like this shit. But I will admit, I'm a lot less. I'm less frustrated than I thought I was gonna be. You know what I mean? But I'm still kind of like, man, this is why I don't do this shit.
No, I feel it.
I'm gonna go ahead and send us out with our intro video again, just to remind people how we stand on things. You guys have anything before I hit it?
I'm good here. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
You good?
I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not libertarian. I'm a human being that wants the best for the rest of the human beings. And I want some common sense. And I want to be left alone. I want to pay low taxes. I want to be able to go build things and prosper and get all the things that have been promised to me in the Constitution of this country. That's what I want. And until people wake the up and stop identifying with left or right, Republican, Democrat, black, white, gay, straight, all the shit. Until we figure that out and stop doing that, we will continue to be abused by these people who hold the power.